everybody. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is your editor-in-chief for AMC Movie News, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. It's a full table today, and we're so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here is AMC's Mark Ellis.
And I'm wearing the shirt from the Young Dr. Moreau collection. Catch me on ice this fall.
And AMC's Miss Mary Jetikin.
Hey everybody, I haven't been here since last week. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came to the 100 million views party. It was so nice to meet you, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. It was just wonderful. I'm still like high from it. It was great.
And writer-director John Schnepp.
What's going on, everybody? So, Ellis, are you trying out for Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian? What's up?
I'm just saying, if this Aunt May thing doesn't work out, we got a Dr. Moreau Beetlejuice.
No, we're making that
crossover.
work. Come on, the screenwriting thing's happening this weekend.
All right, what's up?
With the final Hobbit film now in theaters, many people have been wondering if there will be any more future for the world of Middle-earth on the big screen. According to an interview in Variety, director Peter Jackson is saying he's actually open to the idea of doing more. The director said this: "If I had to start tomorrow, I would say no, because I definitely would appreciate a break to clear my head and get my little New Zealand stories done, which is where my passion and my heart is heading now. But ask me in 2 or 3 years, and I'd probably say yes. It would be hard to see another filmmaker go into this world because I certainly have an emotional ownership of it." John, what do you think of Jackson's comments?
I think this is weird. I mean, he wasn't even going to direct The Hobbit. I mean, a lot of people
Right.
already forget that Guillermo del Toro, for the longest time in the development of the film, was going to direct that.
Yep.
Now he's directed it. I fully expected him to say, "Nope, thank you very much. Spent about 13 years on this. I'm good." But then he comes out and says, "Yeah, no, I think I'd say yes in a few years to come back and do something else." Now, this doesn't address the issue that, of course, the Tolkien family owns the rights to the Silmarillion, and they apparently don't want to give the rights to those to any studio. That doesn't mean there's no options for more Middle-earth stories.
Yeah,
it just may limit which Middle-earth stories they can do. It's also not Peter Jackson saying, let's not get too excited, it's not Peter Jackson saying, I am going to do more Middle-earth stories. But it does open the door, and who knows? I mean, really, who knows? I mean, I saw The Hobbit, I enjoyed it very much, the third Hobbit film. I'm gonna go see it again tonight. Would I like to return to Middle-earth in a few years from now, 5, 6, 7 years from now? In 5 or 6, 7 years, I'll probably be itching to go back to Middle-earth again. Yes, one way or another. And it doesn't have to be. I personally still think The Silmarillion is an unfilmable book.
Yeah.
I
agree
really
with
do.
you.
I don't think you can coherently put that on film. So maybe there are other stories to tell. Maybe there's original ways to go. How they work at the rights, I'm not really sure. But anyway, Schnepp, you read these comments. What do you think about them?
Yeah, I mean, I think he could do one-offs, you know? You could break up little stories that are within some of those stories or appendices and make little one-shot movies. I guess, I mean, it sounds like he doesn't want to let go of the Shire, you know what I mean? He's sort of, like George Lucas eventually had to let go, and he created that universe.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I get it. Weta's there, they've all built this, I mean, they have all these amazing outfits. What are they gonna do with them?
Some on eBay.
I would just
Make a
keep
lot of
making
money.
Hobbit movies. That's why he's like, I just need a break, but we could just, you know, I mean, literally, you could just keep making Hobbit movies. I mean, that's what I would do, so.
Mary?
Yeah, I think, you know, the Silmarillion is obviously the other most well-known Tolkien text. There's a couple of other books he wrote. I think there's like Bilbo's Last Song, or he wrote a bunch of other little things. But
And
I
there's
agree
a
with
few
you.
things that he started writing
Yes.
before he died, and then his son
And then his
later
son
on, years later,
continued.
finished them.
But I feel like the main, most well-known, most famous books have already been adapted,
Yeah.
being the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think I'll always be ready to go back to Middle-earth, because who doesn't want to revisit? But it's also a question of financials and what the studio has going on and what they're slated. We have to remember that, look, Warner Brothers is also committed to like massive DC Universe output for the next God knows how many years. So it's also a matter of just how much bandwidth they're going to have to release another set of movies. So you're right. We'll see. I mean, I'd like to see it, I guess, but who knows?
Mark?
I wouldn't be surprised if a studio wants to go back to Middle-earth, because you can make a lot of money there.
There's a
Yes,
lot of money
sir.
to
There's
be
a lot
made
of gold in
Middle-earth.
Middle-earth. But I was shocked that Peter Jackson said this,
Yeah.
that he would be up for it in 2 or 3 years. I mean, this seems like if he's James Cameron, Middle-earth is his Titanic all of a sudden, where he just can't get this out of, maybe he has dragon sickness. I don't know. Like, as a film fan, I would rather now, because I like all 6 of these movies, I would rather see Peter Jackson go off and do something else, because he's such a talented filmmaker. I want to see other stories that he can tell. As much as I love going to Middle Earth, it's a nice vacation destination, okay? It's not like the Star Wars galaxy.
The Shire. I don't know about Mordor.
Shire. You know what, actually, I wouldn't want to vacation anywhere in Middle Earth. There's nothing to eat there. There's no chilies.
They're always carrying around that weird bread.
But I bet the
I
elves.
want more than bread.
The elves have some cool magic stuff going on that could keep you busy for a while.
What I would be fascinated by is 4 or 5 years from now, 6 years from now, Peter Jackson says, I'm coming back as a producer because
Yeah.
I am still curious to see a Guillermo del Toro Middle Earth
it'd be
film.
so
I think
great.
that would be really, really cool.
Well, they could open it up like how they're doing those Star Wars one-offs. It could be like, we got 9 directors, they're doing 9 movies all around Hobbit land.
Yeah,
you know?
the first spin-off, Flippy the Hobbit.
Yeah, but come on.
His
this
bread baking adventure.
New Zealand. I mean, yeah, you could just have one about those weird, birds that talk,
All right, what's next?
In a recent visit to the set of the upcoming Marvel film, Avengers Age of Ultron, our very own John Schnepp was one of the select few to talk with director Joss Whedon about the project. Amongst the various topics covered in the conversation, Whedon revealed that in the new movie, the character Vision is actually created by Ultron himself. Vision will be played by actor Paul Bettany, who has provided the voice of Iron Man's Jarvis up to this point. Avengers Age of Ultron hits AMC theaters on May 1st. Schnepp, what do you think about what Joss Whedon told you?
Well, how meta. I have to comment on my Joss Whedon.
Commenting on your own story.
This weird, the Schnepp guy was watching some stuff happening in Avengers. That guy's a jerk. Anyway, I'll tell you what I think. Joss Whedon is an incredible machine. I got to watch him direct for 2 days, and he was like nonstop. He had injured himself, so he was kind of limping around, and he was just like looking at the camera, talking with the crew, talking with Robert Downey Jr., checking everything. Go, shooting, then going back, taking a break, then talking to us humps, then going back, shooting. It was just, then he'd been doing that at that point for like 6 months, and he had another 6 months to go. And you can see why he might be reticent to go like, Avengers 3, I'm gonna take a break, because it's a full-time job. He's the writer, he's producing, he's directing. And honestly, I could not imagine this world in another person's hands. Like, we get the greatest Marvel team told by a sweaty Marvel fan. I mean, he's a comic book fan, and the way he deals with, big groups like Buffy, like Firefly, we've seen him prove it already with his X-Men comic books. So having him in charge of the Avengers is just a comic book fan's dream come true, and we've already seen the Avengers. This just looks even better. I mean, everything I saw on set was just mind-blowing. I still can't talk about what I saw the Vision do, but I was happened to be on set.
Let's talk about the Vision, though. This whole big reveal that he made about Ultron.
Ultron creating Vision. Yeah, I mean, the Vision is created in, with obviously Banner and Tony Stark and Ultron, however Ultron is created, we kind of know that Stark's involved in that. Obviously, Jarvis becomes, the Vision. So, without revealing too much, you could say that the Vision actually might have a turn of heart somewhere along the line.
Well, what did Whedon specifically say about Vision and who creates him? How did he exactly word that?
He worded it saying Ultron creates the Vision.
Very cool.
And I think what they've revealed so far is Ultron has decided that for all of the Earth's well-being, mankind must be destroyed. That just logically humans must be terminated. That's just the coolest thing we should do. Obviously, we're some kind of horrible virus, mutating the planet, cleansing, and so it's like, we created something bad here. And I think the Vision originally is like maybe, in my guess, it could be like the Adam, Adam and Eve type, like he's creating a new man. So
I guess I was excited to hear about this. I mean, there's a lot of there was speculation because in the comic books, Ultron creates Vision,
Right.
But there's a lot of speculation that in the movie. Well, in the comic books, also, Hank Pym
Yeah.
creates Ultron, and that's not what happens here. So I think there was a lot of speculation that people thought Banner and Stark create Vision to help fight Ultron, all this kind of stuff. So I thought it was a very cool reveal that, no, in this case, he's sticking to the comic book thing Ultron creates. So Mark, what did you think?
Well, this Schnepp guy is mentally imbalanced. So I don't really trust a lot of what he says. I think this is so exciting because the fact that Ultron creates Vision and the fact that Ultron was created from Stark, or at least Stark had a hand in it, leaves so much room for character development where you can see moral conflicts happening. You can look in somebody's eyes and be like, hey, I was trying to do good, but I did something bad. And then what happens when Ultron creates Vision? What is Ultron's goal when it creates Vision? What did he want? What was his vision for Vision? So there's a lot of cool storytelling devices that you can employ here.
I would say something, but Ellis just blew my mind with Vision creating Vision. I just have a question, actually, for you, maybe. So is Jarvis still around? Like, I didn't read the comic books when I was a kid, so I don't have the background you guys have, but I'm just curious, like, now that Vision is Vision, and is there still a Jarvis, or there's no more Jarvis?
Could be. It's an AI.
Can you talk about that?
Well,
'cause
I
that's
don't
what I'm
even.
saying,
I
it's
actually.
AI, so, like,
I don't know. There could be a Jarvis talking with Vision later. Like Vision might be drinking some oil or something.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean?
just from a performance standpoint, I find that interesting because obviously they do it all in voiceover rooms, but it's still kind of cool for Bettany to play two characters that one comes from the other one, but now they're two separate entities. I just think that's so cool. That blows my mind.
It's going to be really interesting to see how they actually.
Well, is
pose
Vision
together.
going to call Tony Stark Grandpa?
This is what I'm talking about.
It's like getting weird now.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Sinead's got a few other items that we'll move news. She's going to run them down, and those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
We all love trailers, and The Hollywood Reporter has just put out numbers that prove that fact. The trade listed off the top 10 most viewed trailers of 2014, according to YouTube stats. At number 10 is Interstellar with 39 million views. Number 9 is Dumb and Dumber 2 with 44 million views. Number 8 was The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies with 45 million views. Number 7 is Minions with 54 million views, and number 6 was the Furious 7 trailer with 57.5 million views. In the number 5 spot is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer with 58 million views. In 4th is Jurassic World with 64 million views. In 3rd is Avengers Age of Ultron with 78 million views. And in 2nd place is the trailer of the upcoming Star Wars The Force Awakens with 81 million views. In the number 1 spot this year is 50 Shades of Grey with 93 million views. Miri, buy or sell this list?
I'm gonna have to sell this list. Basically, because the number 1 slot makes me question my faith in humanity. I know that 50 Shades is one of the more popular books to have come out maybe ever. I know they sold like scabillions of copies. But I mean, really, guys? Come on. Like, why is that number 1? I think it's cool, though, that Star Wars is in number 2 and only came out, like,
Yeah, the
a
trailer
month
came
ago.
like a
50
number of weeks
Shades
ago.
was in the summer, so that actually, I think it's also like a timing thing, and that's why I also kind of sell this list is they're measuring like 2014 trailers, but it's kind of a weird way to measure in just a 365-day period because a lot of the movies people are most excited for, the trailers have only come out more recently. I think if 50 Shades trailer came out in November, it might be different. You know, I think Star Wars would be number 1 no matter what. I'm happy to see Avengers Age of Ultron is there and Jurassic World because I'm really excited for those. But I'm also selling the list because I feel like it just doesn't give me that much faith in what people are into. Like, why is Fury Road not on there? Like, I've watched that trailer like probably 20 times, the second one, like the one that just came out. And I just feel like I'd like to see maybe not Ninja Turtles, maybe not Dumb and Dumber 2. Like, I don't know. I was kind of hoping for maybe a little more diversity. I'm cool with it being big blockbuster movies. Those tend to show better in a trailer anyway. And it's also people want to see the look and the feel and what the set pieces are going to be like. So I get that, art house films aren't necessarily going to make the list. But I would just kind of like to see, I don't know, like Tomorrowland would have been cool, see more people watching that trailer. And I don't know. I just was a little underwhelmed.
Yeah, I got to buy the list, but I'm completely shocked by it. I'm shocked that Interstellar was 10th.
I know.
Behind Dumb and Dumber 2.
Exactly.
Because I remember when the Interstellar trailer came out, everybody's so freaked out about it. Don't get me wrong, 39 million times people hit play on the Interstellar trailer. That's pretty cool. I was surprised a little bit that, and I shouldn't be, but that the Star Wars trailer was ahead of the Age of Ultron trailer, considering how much buzz and talk there was about the Age of Ultron trailer and stuff like that. And I got to admit, I was shocked about the number 1 spot. When it came up, I was reading down the list, and I read it from 10 to 1, and I'm reading down the list that Star Wars number 2. What's number what? 50 Shades of Grey? That just tells you everybody's into the dirty sex. Everybody is looking for it.
dirty, though.
I know, but it's
Single
the promise
tier.
of it, I guess. This book was a phenomenon,
Yeah.
and I still think they're bringing this movie to the screen too late. I thought they should have got on this earlier, but clearly people are still excited about it, and I think maybe we've all been underestimating how big of an opening weekend this movie's actually going to have. Anyway, Mark, what do you think?
Obviously, this gray guy's a Sith Lord. I don't like it at all. I would rather be on Alderaan when it blew up than live in a world where the 50 Shades of Grey trailer is ahead of Star Wars. I understand that the Star Wars trailer came out a lot more recently than that one did, but still, I mean, you got the Force versus a guy who takes a little blue pill to play. This is so ridiculous to me that 93
He's not talking about
million
the Matrix.
people clicked on that. hope his lightsaber wilts. Here's what I'll say about the 50 Shades of Grey, though, is that, and with a lot of the trailers on this list, is that they're known properties. Whatever you want to say, 50 Shades of Grey isn't a movie property yet, but everybody's aware of that book, and the fact that it was being made into a film. I think everybody at the office was like, hey, you want to go watch this? It was kind of like a cool, mysterious thing. So I can understand why it's so popular. And my answer to your Dumb and Dumber 2 question would be that Dumb and Dumber, everybody was, there was a lot of curiosity there, too.
Yeah, that's
as
true.
to whether
Yeah.
the trailer, as to whether these guys could still pull off those characters. So, and I think with Mad Max Fury Road, even like 50 Shades of Grey has just been in the public consciousness more recently than Mad Max has been. But I think that as far as the quality of filmmaking, I'm going to give the slight edge to Max.
Right. You guys covered almost everything. I would just add that, yeah, I think it shows what people are interested in, and then I don't know if that'll edge out when the movie comes out finally.
Yeah,
it didn't
yeah.
it's sort of like you just said with Dumb and Dumber. It's like, oh, let's check out. A trailer is a little mini preview of the movie. You know, it's basically, and if they can't sell you the movie in the trailer.
It's an uphill battle.
Yeah. So, I mean, most of those trailers were very popular because people were like, did you see though? You got to check it out. And then when the movie finally came out, some people went and saw it. And a lot of people were like, yeah, trailer was enough for me. It's almost like it whet my appetite. It wasn't enough to make me see the film. So.
And for all we know, this movie's going to be, the 50 Shades of Grey may be awesome, for all we know. I will admit this. I've been as skeptical about 50 Shades of Grey movies as anybody else. But when that main trailer came out, I got to admit, if I didn't come with the baggage of my being sick of everything I've already heard from the books and the culture phenomena that the books were and blah, blah, if you're able to push all that aside, at least for me, I put it all aside and just watch a trailer, pretending I've never even heard about this content called 50 Shades of Grey, and watch a trailer, I thought, that's a pretty good trailer. It's an all right trailer. I didn't dislike it. But now bring all the baggage back in. It's like, 50 Shades of Grey.
At least the guy's not a teenage werewolf or teenage vampire.
Yes.
It'd be
That's
so
a
much
win.
cooler if he were a teenage werewolf and he was also like a weird sex freak.
All
I would
right.
totally see that movie.
What's next?
With X-Men Age of Apocalypse set to hit AMC theaters on May 27th, 2016, little is known about the project, including if Hugh Jackman will or will not appear in the film. In a recent interview, Jackman said the following: "I've been speaking to the guys and I'm not at liberty to tell exactly what's going on, which is largely framing my answer here. But there's still a lot of unknown about that, actually. There are some very exciting things about integrating the whole X-Men world, including the Wolverine movie. There's some really cool things going on. Mark, buy or sell that Jackman and Wolverine will be a part of X-Men Apocalypse."
This is the easiest buy in the history of commerce. Yes, I'm totally buying this. You can't have an X-Men movie without Wolverine, especially when Hugh Jackman is still in his prime. It's like having a Star Wars movie without lightsabers. It doesn't make sense.
Snap.
I sell this. No, I'm just kidding. Buy. Yeah, you're right. I mean, especially since Hugh Jackman already said he's going to be in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
What now? I don't even understand. Like, what are we talking about? Like, how many minutes he's going to be in, and like,
I don't think he's ever come out and said directly, I'm absolutely going to be in it, but I think he's teased it a lot.
Yeah.
He has to be in it. Come on, he's going to be in the third Wolverine. I just want an old man Logan. Stop messing around.
Old man Logan.
Yeah, and Miri?
Yeah, I super buy this. Also, if you just look at like chronology and storytelling, he's like a central part of Days of Future Past. Like, it's not just like, oh, Logan's kind of in there. We're not really sure if he's going to be in the next one. If there is some sort of continuation of the story, which I'm assuming there will be, he has to kind of be in the movie, even if it's just a teeny tiny bit. I can't imagine they're just going to make Apocalypse and not have him there at all.
Yeah.
Even if they try to do like a Days of Future Passing where there might be a younger version or an older version, it's going to be him. It has to be him. I mean, I can't even compute a world where it's not him.
I completely buy that he will be in it,
Yeah.
despite what he said. Look, he wouldn't be talking about it. Look, the one thing about Hugh Jackman, besides being ridiculously talented, is he's ridiculously intelligent and he's savvy. He knows, and he has known for a long time, that he is going to be in these movies, and he wouldn't be talking like this if he wasn't going to be. It's just simply, even if I think if there was a question if he was going to be there, he wouldn't be talking like this. So there was no way I would buy the notion that he's not going to be there. So yeah, for me, it's definitely a buy. All right, what's next?
With Pirates of the Caribbean 5 being set to hit AMC theaters on July 7th, 2017, actor Orlando Bloom recently discussed the future of the franchise and his participation in it in an interview with IGN. Bloom said the following: "I'm not entirely sure that I'll be back just yet, but there are talks. Basically, they want to reboot the whole franchise, I think, and do something with me and the relationship with my son. I'm, of course, Davy Jones now, so I'm down to the bottom of the ocean. It might be kind of fun to do something where I'm rumbling around the bottom of the ocean because I won't look anything like me." Gesturing to his face, he said, "Get all gnarly." John, buy or sell Bloom returning to Pirates of the Caribbean?
I sell it. I think it was, after the first movie with Orlando Bloom and was it Keira Knightley?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In the first one, I think their story was done. I think they should have moved on from those. And they were great in the first one, but I think their story was done at the end of the first one. They should have moved on from those characters at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They should not return to these characters now. Also, somebody needs to teach Orlando Bloom what the meaning of reboot is. You can't say, yeah, we're going to reboot it. Now we're going to pick up the story with me and my son and like really.
Not a reboot.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think this
Continuation.
would be a bad move for me. It's a sell, Mary.
Yeah, I agree with you. I sell it. I sell it just because I have Pirates fatigue. Like even if they reboot it and they put it in, they make the story Davy Jones down at the bottom, it's still in that world. It's still that aesthetic. It's still following that general tone. And I feel like I've been done with Pirates since maybe the second film. So I'm kind of fatigued on it. I sell it.
I keep wanting a good one, but
I know,
they have
like,
not given us a good one
maybe
since
a
this
different
first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I sell it with a big yawn. Bored. Arg. I agree.
Yeah.
Nothing more to say about it.
Yeah, I'm selling this. I mean, look, they kind of rebooted Star Trek, and Leonard Nimoy made an appearance in there. But Orlando Bloom, you ain't Spock. We don't need him. He's a fine actor. We don't need him in the next Pirates movie.
Gnarling
They should
around at
put
the bottom of the
Leonard
ocean.
Nimoy as Spock in the Pirates movie and just blow
Everybody's
him.
looking for shared universes.
Star Trek, Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, incredible.
Amazing. Well, there were humpback whales in the Voyage Home. I mean,
All
There you
right,
go,
folks,
that's the
we've reached
connection.
that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're going to save a minute or two at the end of the show to take some of your live Twitter questions, so you can tweet in some questions to us right now at AMC Movie News, and Sinead will pick a few out. But for now, let's get to the Mailbag. Sinead, what do we got?
Joe Zisk writes, "Hey AMC Movie Talk crew, your show is excellent in all regards. After hearing the Critics' Choice Awards category for Best Action, I was surprised that John Wick was not nominated. Do you guys think it was considerable for a nomination? What are your thoughts? And keep bringing the filthy."
Yeah.
I voted. I'm a member of the BFCA, and I voted for John Wick. I thought it was really one of the best action movies of the year. And we had this conversation, you put this thing out about Critics' Choice and how crazy it is that Unbroken got in there. And I think in general we have to kind of take awards shows with a grain of salt, or awards nominations, because there's no checks and balances. There's no way to check on the ballots and see exactly what came in, because I would imagine a lot of the critics that are members would have voted on John Wick. I just feel like they would have, because of the buzz that I heard when it came out, and talking to people, everybody was really into it. It was really fun, and it didn't take itself too seriously. The action was really well done. I'm surprised that it didn't get in there. So I agree with you. I'm surprised.
I'm surprised too. I would have put it in there myself, but at the same time, it's not like there's any. We went down that list, and it's not like there's any movies on that list that clearly don't deserve to be there,
Right.
Yeah.
right? They're all
true.
good action movies that are on that list. Would I put John Wick in there? Hell yes, I would have. But at the same time, it's not like there's some really big undeserving name. Anyway, Schnepp.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed John Wick. It was a lot of fun. It was fun to see Keanu Reeves in a great action film.
Yeah.
And that it didn't make it in the list, I don't think there's a conspiracy. It's just there was a lot of really good action films this year.
Yeah.
So maybe it just barely got edged out,
And it's very competitive, too, because you're not just talking about straight-up action films. They also obviously are going to allow for some sci-fi, some comic book elements to get in there, too. So
Yeah.
it's hard for a film like John Wick that came out later in the year. I like the movie. I don't have a vote, obviously, but I don't think it needs to be not recognized in order for it to be a good film. It's a really cool action movie, so watch it.
All right, what's next?
Jeff and Naomi write, "Do you feel that Disney really did themselves, the fans, and the ton of people who worked on the Star Wars extended universe for over a decade a huge disservice by throwing out the EU? I love AMC and appreciate all the obvious hard work everyone there puts in almost every single day. Thank you."
Nope. Scrapping the EU was absolutely the right thing. It's what they had to do. It's what they should have done. The EU became a big jumbled mess of contradictions and conflictions and all that kind of stuff. And if you were moving forward, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of EU stuff. Thrawn trilogy, anybody. There's a lot of EU stuff that I love, and I think that I would still recommend people to go and read, even though it's not officially now a part of canon. But the fact of the matter is, where you had 50 different writers and 5,000 different books and 300 different games and all these types of things, and a lot of them start to contradict each other and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to come to Star Wars Episode 7 and find out Chewbacca was hit by a moon. Which happened in the extended universe, by the way.
Got hit by a moon?
Yeah, that's how they killed Chewbacca. They hit him with the moon.
Don't you see a moon coming?
I know.
So-
He was like,
Doesn't it move kind of slowly? It's a big lumbersome thing,
You'd think it's deceptively nimble, the moon.
It's not a moon, it's a space station. No, that's a moon.
So I mean, if you're now picking up again, You need to, I talk about this a lot, the writers and the directors and the creators of the Star Wars universe needed to cut off any handcuffs they had that was going to hamstring them creatively in what they were going to do. Oh, we can't have Yoda do this in the movies, or we can't have Luke Skywalker do this, because that would contradict what happened in this obscure little novel that came out 15 years ago where Luke says, I love peach pie. And now we can't have him say, I love blueberry pie. You know, whatever. The case would be, so no. Getting rid of the extended universe, it's still there. What do they call now? The Legends? Is that what they call it? Star Wars Legends?
What, the expanded universe became that?
Yeah, they don't call it extended universe anymore. Now they call it Star Wars Legends or something like that. Getting rid of it out of canon was not only the right thing, it was the absolutely necessary thing that they had to do if they're going to move forward with these movies at all. Anyway, what did you guys think?
Agreed.
I was going to add that, like, this happens in comic books all the time. Every 7 to 8 years, they have something like, I don't know if you guys remember the Crisis on Infinite Earths, or you know, I mean, that's their DC and Marvel's way of flushing all this like weird, detritus, like, you know, just obscure things that they want to. Hey, let's go back to one. Let's reboot. You have to reboot it. And then with Star Wars, it's 30 years of different stories. Who are the Mandalorians? I don't know if they're this or that. So it makes sense, especially with a brand new take on Star Wars, to like, hey, like, let's decide what's canon, and like we can add some of the things from the expanded universe as we move along, but let's just say it's not canon. It makes sense.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for the people who worked on the EU. I mean, look, you still got to work on Star Wars and get paid for it. That's a pretty sweet job to have. And as far as, I think you needed to do this because imagination thrives when it's untethered. You can't be held down to all these different standards and still try to make your own vision of what you want for the future. So I like the fact that it's moving forward. I think it's in the right direction.
And let's keep this in mind too. The Star Wars Extended Universe never was a part officially of canon. You know, there was the movies, and that was canon. That was it. It was, so they haven't really done away with the extended universe. They've just very clearly put an exclamation point on it, said it never was canon in the first place, but now we're just officially letting you know none of that was canon. What was interesting is now moving forward, all the Star Wars books that come out moving forward now
Will be canon.
Comics, games are canon. So that's going to be interesting to see how they do all that. All right, folks, I said we'd leave a few minutes at the end of the show for some of your live questions. We're going to do that right now. Just tweet in the questions to @AMC Movie News on Twitter. You should be following us there, too. Sinead's been picking out some questions. So, Sinead, what do we got?
Anthony tweets, Viola Davis is cast as Amanda Waller. What are your thoughts?
No, she wasn't. Every website that is running that headline is lying to you. They have not cast her as... Now, they may. She's been rumored for a long time. But first of all, the studio has not confirmed this. Viola Davis has not confirmed this. This is coming from one website that says they have sources. Now, also in the article of that one website that is putting that out, even they say in their article it's not a done deal. They're saying they'd like to have her, but they're now looking at her schedule to see if they can find a way to make it work. So even in the article that this comes from, it says it's not a done deal yet. So all these websites that are running with the headline, Viola Davis has been cast as whatever, you've heard me go on about this type of thing before. I got nothing left to say about it. Look, we've been hearing Viola Davis's name for a while. This could end up being true. And I think there's a good possibility. It was either her or Octavia Spencer and Oprah Winfrey were names mentioned, right? Absolutely, it could end up being Viola Davis, absolutely. But at this point, it is not just premature, it's erroneous to say that it's done, that she's been cast, because even the source that it came from says it's not a done deal yet. So let's just pump the brakes on that. That's why we didn't run it as a story today. Anyway, any of you guys?
Hang on, I'm tweeting that she got cast.
I'm telling Cosmic Starship Super News that it's Oprah. I heard it's Oprah.
Awesome.
Any other thoughts?
No, I agree with you. You know how I feel about conjecture and rumors. I'm with you.
You love it.
I mean, it's one thing. There's some sites that are wanting to say, "Hey, Viola Davis could be your next Amanda Waller," and that's cool. It's just when you read these headlines of these sites, and you're lying to your fans,
Right.
and you're
Confirmed.
saying, you're lying to your readers. Viola Davis has been cast. That's actually not been said by anybody. So just take that with a grain of salt, guys, when you read stories like that. Anyway, what else is in the Twitter stream?
Belinda tweets, I always thought that The Hobbit deserved an Oscar for makeup or costumes with all the unique dwarves. Will they get it for the third one?
Well, that's a really good question. It's a good point. I thought the dwarves look great in all the Hobbit movies. And also, they all have their own individual look. I love the one guy who still has the axe hilt in his head. I mean, it's so, but that being said, if it wasn't nominated, and I haven't looked back over the nominations list, but if it wasn't nominated before, it's the same dwarves now. I don't know why it would get nominated this time. So Any other thoughts?
I mean, sometimes they give it a pass if they think it's the last movie. That, it's the last time we're ever
Yeah.
going to see these costumes or these whatever, so we should better nominate it now. It might have a bit of a harder time because it's more CGI than it was in the past. So I think that maybe it'll get a break because it is the closing of the trilogy.
You also have stuff like Maleficent, though, which people,
Yeah, it looked great.
which
Those
looked
horns were awesome.
The horns were awesome. The wings, like her makeup, and Rick Baker designed it, and he's kind of an Academy darling, and people love to nominate him. I think it'll be nominated. I think you're right, though. There is something to be said for the last film in the franchise kind of getting love because it's the last one.
Well, and it's also, this one has all of everybody in it. Like, the first
Yeah,
two
it's
Hobbits
true.
was like separate. Now this has got Smaug, it's got the dwarves,
Yeah.
it's everybody. So it's a million costumes and special
It's got
effects.
up to 5 armies.
That's right.
Up to and not
and
exclusively.
Spock makes an appearance.
I certainly
All
hope
right,
so.
2 more quick ones real fast.
Christopher tweets, with the Star Wars movie coming out, do you think this will bring more people to the Star Trek movies or less? Thanks.
You know what? The
question.
funny thing is, you would think there would be more of a symbiotic relationship because they're both space sci-fi kind of things. But for whatever reason, I've always sensed that nobody ever associates one with the other.
No.
And like there's no, obviously there's no real connection, but there's no feeling that, oh, this is like this.
It's
Oddly,
not.
when you think on the surface that it would, so I honestly don't think the success or failure of the new Star Wars film will have anything to do with the success or failure of the new Star Trek movie, or vice versa. But maybe I'm dead wrong about that. I don't know.
I think it's already happened because I think the fact that J.J. Abrams was the guy that rebooted Star Trek and now he's gone over to Star Wars, I think that already got more people like me who were not. When I was a kid, it was Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
I love Trekkies because I used their lunch money to buy myself pizza on Friday. But
used
now
their
I think that
lunch
it's
money.
more of a unification of these cultures where it's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I did kind of like Star Trek. And now that we have the same guy that helmed one doing the other one, and going forward, there might be more crossovers with directors who do a Star Trek movie and a Star Wars movie. So I think that can have an effect.
I was gonna say, JJ's very smart. Like, his Star Trek movie was basically him just making Star Wars. Like, you
it's
can
In the
lay the
Star Trek
plot,
universe.
you can lay the plot of Star Wars over Star Trek, and it's the exact same thing. So anyway, look it up, check it out. But the thing with Star Trek versus Star Wars, it's always boggled me because I've loved both of them.
Me too.
And the
I'm
Star
with
Trek
you.
people are always like, they have this kind of more of an effete attitude, like Star Wars is for stupid people. And it's like, look, Star Trek isn't like hard science. It's made up. Everyone
Certainly
has a
not the
weird
original.
appliance and they're an alien. Give me a break. They're both science fiction fantasy. Just deal with it. They
Yeah.
should love each other. There should be a Star Wars, Star Trek love-in.
I always
Switch
loved
it
both
up.
because I grew up in a house where Star Wars was equally beloved with the original series, and I grew up with both influences. And I think you're right, though. To me, they're two distinct universes that don't really mesh, even though they both are kind of like space operas and take place in outer space in the future and whatever. I always saw them as different and therefore not fighting each other. I'm Canadian. We're actually like we're peaceful people. We don't know this about us.
I have grown up loving Star Trek too. My
Yeah.
mom watched all the original Star Treks. I was younger obviously, but
Yeah.
when the Next Generation show came
Yeah.
on, I ate that up. There's a lot of the Star Trek movies I love. I love the current run of the Star Trek movies and all that kind of stuff. I put my arm around my Star Trek fan brother, but if some cosmic deity says pick one or the other, I'm going to start kicking the crap out of my Star Trek brother because it's Star Wars all the way. But I love them both. All right, last one real fast.
Malik asks, Big Hero 6 only made $253 million on a $165 million budget. Is that something to be worried about?
No, not when it's domestically only. No, I'm going to pull up some numbers here. You guys go ahead and comment
Well,
on that.
Big Hero 6 has such an international appeal to it. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that those are the domestic numbers because it takes place in San Francisco. So
Yeah.
that's going to have a huge cultural crossover across the entire world. So I think that it's going to be doing okay. Its bank account is going to look better than mine at the end of this quarter.
Yeah, I think it's also like when you say something to worry about. If you're asking like whether the studio is worried about it, I don't know that they are because that sounds pretty successful to me. I mean, it's like $100 million over their budget, which is maybe not the biggest success that Disney's used to, but it's certainly not bad.
And that's not counting all the little Baymax figures that are sold
Yeah,
out
and- well, that's
everywhere.
right.
I mean, the toys are what's
licensing and-
they're making the most money on, and they've got to be really happy with that.
And the
because that-
Blu-rays that are going to be coming out in 6
Yeah,
months.
The
and then-
the movie went over really well, so I don't know, and especially the phrasing of it. It should be "we be worried." You shouldn't, unless you're part of an investor in it, and making money on it.
also,
I
like
don't get it.
it's getting. I mean, critically, it was loved, and it's getting nominated now in award season for a number of different things. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not worried.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I'm
worry
not losing
about it.
sleep.
Now, let's bring a correction. That was the worldwide number right now.
Interesting.
But keep in mind, Big Hero 6 also had a much longer tail rollout. So there are still, hold on a second, I'm just looking at it right now. Give me 1 second to bring this up. Okay, there are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's still over 50 countries for Big Hero 6 that is still opening between now and February 12th.
Oh, yeah,
so it's
so-
not like Interstellar. I remember when this first came out, say, yeah, Big Hero 6 beat Interstellar at the box office, but domestically, but worldwide, it's, yeah, but Interstellar opened in a lot, like 400% more countries worldwide than Big Hero 6 did. They still have about 40 or 50 countries to roll out between now and February 12th. The Croatia is going to be the last country to get it. It gets it on February 12th. So we've got a few months before we know what the financial results of
So what
Big
you're
Hero
saying
6
is
are.
if you're in Croatia, I would be worried about it.
Yes, then you should be worried. All right, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thanks so much for joining us. Listen, lots of great movies playing in AMC theaters everywhere right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed so you can listen to us at your leisure. Also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, upcoming in a Comedy Store, where in Ohio?
In Nebraska.
In Nebraska,
Very,
Mr.
very
Mark
close.
Ellis. Mark Ellis, where can people find you?
5150 Ellis on Twitter and Instagram. Tomorrow night, I start the weekend at the Omaha Funny Bone. For New Year's, I'll be at the Nashville Zanies Comedy Club. Let's have some chuckles.
Of course, sitting over here on my right, fellow Canadian Miri Jedikin. Miri, where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not chuckling at Mark Ellis, maybe at his expense, I can be found on Instagram and Twitter at Miri the Jedi.
And right over there, right director, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram, John Schnepp and TDOSLWH. And I really think you should see Ice Pirates with Robert Urich. That'll solve any of your Pirates of the Caribbean problems.
Yes.
And Hellboy.
And Hellboy. It's a super combo.
Yep. Okay, and sitting over there, of course, our lovely host today, Miss Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you?
On Twitter and Instagram at Sinead DeFries and at that'ssosinead.com.
And hey guys, don't forget, if you've got an Instagram account, check us out on Instagram, simply at AMC Movie News on Instagram. Miri just put up a picture of us there too. That's pretty cool. My name's John Campy, guys. You can find me on all the various social media networks just at John Campy. So thanks for joining us, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.